Hi, and welcome back to Love on the Brain, the podcast that helps you transform tough emotions into questions that serve you better. I'm your host, Kay Van Dunk, and I help independent women who are single, divorced, or widowed find their soulmates while staying true to their high standards. In each episode, we dive into a frustrating question you may have about love. I'll share some insights, and then we reframe it with an affirmation or ask-formation to help lift your spirits. An affirmation is just a question framed in a positive way to help your brain search for solutions, or at least shift your mindset. If your brain's going to be on repeat, might as well give it something helpful, right? If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a great review on whichever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Your reviews help other amazing singles find the podcast too. Okay, let's jump in. Today's question is, what should I prioritize in looking for a partner? Knowing what truly matters in finding your soulmate is really the first step in attracting your soulmate, because it's easy to just jump out there and start dating, and then you find out I don't really like that this person doesn't value family, or this person doesn't like to travel. That's not a hit for me. Wouldn't it be great if you could come into a dating scenario knowing exactly what you want, because you've eliminated everyone who doesn't look like that? And yes, it sounds a little bit harsh, but we don't have time to be fooling around when we're looking for a soulmate, right? You've got a lot on your plate, and the last thing you want to do is keep sifting through for the needle in the haystack. You don't just hop on a plane and say, I'll go wherever's warm, and wherever the plane takes you, you get off. No, you have an idea. You want to be on a beach somewhere, and you want to be on a beautiful resort that has unlimited cocktails. It's no different in your soulmate, right? You want someone who upfront matches what you look for, and anybody who does not meet about 80% of that doesn't get to spend your precious time trying to convince you otherwise. In fact, I created a resource called the Soulmate Wishlist Blueprint that you can find in the show notes. It's a 2-part process that really helps you get super crystal clear on your intentions, on what you're looking for in a soulmate, because that's the first step in attracting, like I said before. It's easy to get overwhelmed in the dating process. Maybe your friends are setting you up with someone. You might be on an app or a website and you're getting tons of matches. And then, of course, there's people you meet in your everyday life. And yeah, for many of you, that doesn't mean that you have a date lined up every single night, but taking in all of these different scenarios where you can meet someone can be a lot. And it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of attraction and really feel like you met someone who's interesting because they hit it on 1 or 2 points that maybe you had a conversation about. But is that what really matters to you long term? Do they speak to what you're really looking for in a soulmate? It's maybe something you might not have ever thought about before, and kind of that fleeting chemistry that these apps and dating websites encourage, of swiping and looking at a picture and somebody's kind of bullet points of who they are as a person, and making decisions based on that. But what if you could come into this a little bit more savvy than the average dater? There's a lot of pressure when you're dating. So take some of that off of yourself by coming into the situation knowing exactly what you want. I'm going to encourage you to look for alignment with some things that really matter deep down. The internal stuff, the stuff you can't necessarily see just by looking at someone, like focusing on their core values and what are their long-term goals and how do they align with yours. Because yes, of course, attraction is important, right? You're not sleeping with somebody's honesty, or you're not making out with this person's reliability and trustworthiness. No, I get that. But these are also things that guide you long after the sizzle of the honeymoon phase has worn off. Because if you consider the lifespan of a relationship, and this is your soulmate we're talking about, so we're hoping that it's going to be a lifelong relationship. That first 2 years of headiness around who they are and you can't keep your hands off of each other, eventually that kind of moves to the background. This is part of your togetherness that's going to be the most impactful to your long-term attraction even. So while physical attraction is important, while social alignment is important, the real lasting connection that you're going to make with your soulmate is going to be based on things that are more than surface level. Today's question was, what should I prioritize in looking for a partner? And the affirmation that we're going to switch that to is, why am I so clear on what matters most in finding a soulmate? And again, repeat after me. Why am I so clear on what matters most in finding a soulmate? And there are things that you want in a relationship that you find to be non-negotiable, meaning it's something you cannot compromise on for who you are. And it differs for each and every person, and that's fine. Don't let somebody try to talk you out of your non-negotiables, because at the end of the day, it's what matters to you, and that's what matters. Also be mindful that you got to keep an eye out for some of those red flags. Maybe somebody meets most of what you're looking for, but there's a couple of things that they do that are not exactly so hot. So keep an eye out always for red flags, even in soulmate dating, right? We don't want to get so caught up in the lovey woo-woo romantic nature of it that we don't see that the person sitting in front of us is a human. You're taking the steps to move forward to attracting that person who is going to speak to exactly what you're looking for, because you're going to get your priorities in order. And like I said, my soulmate wish list blueprint is in the show notes, and it's an excellent resource. 2 days, you and me, I hold your hand, I'm holding space for you in picking out what it is you want from a soulmate, what it is you're going to start attracting. And it's powerful because it's the first step in really getting clear on what you want. But more importantly, in taking that step that really is critical to magnetize someone to you who looks a lot like that. You are listening to this podcast, I am sure, because you want to do things a little bit differently, or you are a woman who knows what she wants and doesn't want to attract anything but the best. And I want that for you as well, girl. With the right mindset, with the right tools, you are already well on your way to attracting that soulmate to you who is just amazing. The kind of person that you wake up in the morning and think to yourself, I didn't even know this was possible for me. I am so incredibly blessed. Because that's exactly what you deserve. Before we close each podcast, I love to focus on gratitude because it is the highest vibration of all. So think of one thing that you're grateful for in this moment. As always, I'm grateful that you tune into my podcast and love you for listening. Remember, when love is on the brain, asking better questions can lead to better results. Imagine waking up every day knowing you're one step closer to the soulmate who truly gets you. The Soulmate Wishlist Blueprint is your first step in making that a reality. This isn't just a list, it's a roadmap to attracting the love you've always known is possible. For 2 days, I walk you through getting to the meat of what really matters in a soulmate and letting go of what's been keeping you apart. If you're ready to step into the love you deserve, the Soulmate Wishlist Blueprint can help you create the clarity and definition you need to call in your soulmate. Are you ready? The link's in the show notes. Download it for free now and begin the powerful shift that brings your soulmate into your life.